Okay, so today, while we were working on our essays in our groups in class today, a lot of y'all had some significant issues with things that we have already discussed, things that I have already taught you, things that you've already taken notes on. And I'm not understanding that. Y'all know it drives me crazy. So I'm going to go through the important pieces that I see that people are still missing one more time. And this is it. This is the last time I'm going over it. Every single thing that you hear me say of these notes, you need to write down right now. Here we go. Follow the outline exactly for each paragraph. This does not mean that each bullet can only be one sentence. It can be however many sentences it needs to be to fully complete each part. The outline is there for a reason. It is your roadmap. Every single time you write a paragraph and write a sentence in a paragraph, you need to be looking back at that outline to make sure you're going in the right order and to make sure you're putting the right things in the right paragraphs. Number 2, quotes. Quotes cannot stand alone. They must be integrated and cited. They have to be integrated into a sentence. They cannot be all by themselves. You know how to do this. You've been taught how to do this since August. You have practiced both of those since August dozens of times. So again, all these things you see on this paper, that's what you need to write down. You don't have to write down all my commentary, I guess, but write down everything you see on the screen. All right. Number 3, quotes. They do not belong attached to intro or conclusion sentences, and they do not belong in intro or conclusion paragraphs. That means the first and last sentence of each paragraph should never, ever, ever include a quote, no matter what you are writing for, no matter what it is. Never. You never, ever, ever do that. You have to have an intro sentence, and then if you want to attach your quote to sentence 2, that is okay, but not to sentence 1 and not to the last sentence. Analysis versus summary. Okay, here's where a lot of y'all are having problems today, which you should not be having problems with this because, again, we've been going over this for about a month. Not quite as long as citing and integrating, but we have watched and taken notes with videos on this same topic. We have discussed it in class. You have practiced it in class dozens and dozens of times, but let's review one more time. Analysis. Thoughts, emotions, character motivations. They're not actions. They must be important and purposeful about life. It must be about the bigger picture, revelations, life lessons, what the reader learns from the characters, what the author's trying to show or teach, all that kind of stuff. Just saying one short statement like, he learned to be himself, or he learned to be confident. This is not a full analysis. It's the beginning of analysis. It means you need to keep going. It's not fully finished yet. Summary. What someone does or does not do. What happens in the story. What doesn't happen in the story. Anything with the story plot. The events. Anything a character does. That is all summary. So if you say, all right, well, this led him to finding the tunnel, or being in the tunnel led him to his discovery of electricity. None of that is going to be analysis. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use it. You can still include it, and you may need to explain what part of the book you're talking about before you give your analysis, but you can't leave it at just summary. You have to have summary and analysis, but analysis is most important. Almost through. Group work. Now, we have talked about this dozens and dozens of times also. You already know these things, but let's talk about it one more time. No talking to other groups. No off-topic conversation. No arguing with your group members or with me. No, I told you, or shut up, or whatever. Speak to your group members with respect, or I will handle that in a disciplinary fashion. Yes, you are graded on all of your interactions with your peers. If you get to where you are bullying a peer or you are disrespectful to a peer, then yes, I'm going to take disciplinary action and we're going to have some significant issues. But you know all of this. That means that when you bring your paper to me or if you ask me a question, you are not to get offended when I give you an answer. If it's an answer you do not like, well, that's okay. You're asking me because you don't know the answer. If I give you the answer, it doesn't really matter if you like it or not, darlings. It's the answer. So I need you to be a little more mature and do what we're supposed to do. Finally, I just touched on this a little bit. Control your emotions. Do not wear your feelings on your sleeve. Don't pout when I tell you something you don't want to hear. Don't go back to your group and pout. Don't stomp back to your group on the way there. Don't do all of that. Take criticism maturely and respectfully. A negative mind will only produce substandard, failing results. A positive mind will allow you to make corrections faster, easier, and better. So when I give you some criticism and I say, okay, this is what we need to fix, that's what you need to do. You don't go over there and pout. You're still going to have to fix it whether you pout or not, so you might as well just have a good attitude while you do it. If getting all upset will not actually change the fact that you still have to make the corrections, and Daisy Ray, stop barking. Come here. Sorry, y'all. If getting all upset will not actually change the fact that you still have to make the corrections, and if it will only make it harder for yourself, then why even let yourself go there? Why even do that? Do not move on to the next step of the essay until you have checked in with me and I have told you to move on. If I have not told you to move on, then you do not move on. If I have not checked your work, you do not do any other work. You wait until I check it. You bring it to me and follow directions. If you cannot follow directions, then yes, I'm going to snap at you. Don't get offended when I snap at you if you are asking me things that we have already discussed dozens of times and something that I've covered in this video. So now this is a final time that we have covered it. Do not get snappy with me when you ask me one of these questions again and I kind of tell you, look, we've already gone over this, and if I get a little snappy with you, then, you know, I'm sorry, and I'm going to work on that too. But do not have an attitude with me when I've already gone over these things 100 times.